Dr. Matthew Younglove from Tennessee Tech University. Today we're going to talk about making your first sounds on the saxophone. If you checked out my first video, we talked about putting the saxophone all together. Now we're going to make some sounds on it. Important thing about the saxophone, as you probably already know, this is a single reed instrument, meaning that there is a mouthpiece and a single reed that goes on that mouthpiece, and that's where our sound is generated. The mouthpiece is the most important element for sound production, and how you control that mouthpiece is going to be how you make a good sound. The rest of the saxophone, the body of the instrument, is just an amplifier, like a megaphone. It's just going to make your sound bigger. So if you don't have a good sound here, it's just going to become a louder, not good sound down here. Really important we have a good sound up here. So we've already assembled our mouthpiece and reed in the previous video. You should have gotten that correct. What we're going to do now is talk about how to approach this instrument correctly. So first and foremost, it is vital when you're playing that you sit with very good posture. Right now my feet are flat on the floor and I'm sitting in a position where my spine is straight, my back is straight, I'm not hunched over. This is really bad for your lungs, and you can already tell it impacted my voice a little bit. So if I stand and sit nice and tall, or if I'm standing nice and tall. But if I'm sitting nice and tall, my lungs can expand fully, and the saxophone now needs to come directly to me. Do you see how it didn't come low? Sometimes the saxophone comes too low and we try to change our head. We want to adjust the neck strap so that it comes straight to our mouth. That's an important part for posture number one, okay? Now, what you notice with my hands is that I'm not playing with my hands out like this. I'm relaxed. My arms are relaxed by my side, and my hands are in nice, easy, normal positions. So relaxation is very important for playing. Lastly, you'll notice that I'm currently sitting with the saxophone in between my legs. That is not possible for everyone depending on how fully grown you are. If you're on the smaller side, not fully grown yet, that may mean that the saxophone hangs too low in between your legs and you can't reach it with this hand, which is really important for us to adjust our seated position. So very often it is common for those in 5th, 6th, maybe 7th or 8th grade even to play with the saxophone on their right leg. So I'm going to demonstrate that position. My legs are together, my saxophone is now angled here, and I'll have to adjust both the angle of my mouthpiece and the angle of the neck to make it come to me a little bit more comfortably. But I'm having it seated very close to my knee, and it goes across my body and is seated on the side of my leg. This is a very standard position for those who play tenor and or bari saxophone, because it is not possible, I shouldn't say it's not possible, it is highly unlikely you'll be comfortable playing with a baritone saxophone in between your legs. And it's a little bit harder for the tenor, but there are many people who play with the tenor still in between their legs. It just really depends on your torso size. If your torso is longer, you may have enough space to make that work in between your legs. Very common for the alto saxophone when people are fully grown to be more comfortable playing in between their legs. So we're going to start at this position, and now we're going to talk about how to make your first sound. You may have heard the term embouchure before, but a saxophone embouchure is the control of the muscles in your face that making the sound on the saxophone much better. Embouchure is actually a French word, and it means water flowing through the mouth of a river, which is very poetic, but you think it's very similar to what we're doing. So we're now going to work on our embouchure, and we're going to talk about 3 important steps. Step 1, your lower lip must be over your teeth. Now, everyone has a different size lower lip. Some people have bigger lower lips, some people have smaller lower lips. The amount that needs to go inside your mouth is going to be dependent upon how big your lip is. I'm on the slightly larger side of a lower lip. Some people say I have a very big lower lip. So I put in most of it, but not all of it. Some people are going to need to put in all of it. Some people will need to put in about half their lower lip if they have a large lower lip. So be aware of what your normal lip size is and about how much you need to put into your mouth. I go about 3/4 of my lower lip. And the next step, so I'll practice that right now, lower lip over my teeth. Good. The next step, this is good to practice with your thumb. If you take your thumb, pretend your thumbnail is your saxophone reed, you can push your lower lip over your teeth. Step 2, with that same practicing technique, is we're going to take our top teeth, the middle 2, and we're going to place them down on top of our thumb or our mouthpiece. Okay, so we're here. Step 3 is to say ooh, or bring your corners of your mouth forward. We want to create an O-like seal around the saxophone mouthpiece. Ooh. And that's how we're going to create our saxophone embouchure. I'm going to do it now with the saxophone. Lower lip over my teeth, top teeth down, ooh. Once I create that embouchure, I'm ready to start pushing air to make my very first sounds. So the easiest note in the world to play is C sharp. That has nothing down. We have no fingers down. We're not pressing any keys. We're just hanging out and going to make a sound. So there's a C sharp. Now, let's talk about where to hold the saxophone so we can actually start making some key work. On the back side of the saxophone, you'll notice up here, it's black on my saxophone. There's sometimes different colors, metal on some instruments, gold, silver. They can be really any color. This is called the thumb plateau. This is where my left thumb is going to hang out, okay? I want to make sure I usually play at about a 45-degree angle with that thumb so that I can push the octave key that's right back there. But you don't want to be pressing the octave key regularly. I go where the first joint of my knuckle and my thumb is, and I set that on the plateau. And then I bring my hands around, and you can notice my index finger is parallel to the ground. I'm not playing like this. I don't have a weird angle in my wrist. Nice, relaxed, comfortable, parallel to the ground. That way, each one of these keys, my fingers can go on. You're going to skip the very first key on your saxophone. This is called the X key or front key. We're going to ignore it. You're not going to use it for a very long time. The next key down, this is our first key. Finger number 1 goes there. You skip another little key. That's called the bis key, but we're going to skip that key, and then your second finger, your middle finger, the second finger in your left hand, is going to go on top of that key. There should only be one left below you, one circular shaped pearl below that, and you're going to put your third finger there, the ring finger, and then your pinky is going to rest on what we call the spatula. This is this group of keys down here. You let your pinky just kind of rest there and hang out. So those are the first 3 keys on the left hand. Now let's talk about the right hand. You should have a little hook on the bottom part of your saxophone, and your right thumb is going to go into that hook. The rest of your fingers should very naturally fall over the 1, 2, 3 pearls you see there. You'll see pearls that are all on keys in some capacity. So your index finger is going to go over the first one, your middle finger over the second one, your ring finger over the third one, and your pinky is going to rest on these 2 keys down here at the bottom. So we're going to let it just hang out down there, not pushing anything down, but that's where we want to let it hang out, let it rest. That's where it needs to do all of its work when we play the saxophone. So now that we have our hands in the right position, I want you to push down your first finger, your second finger, and your third finger in your left hand. First, second, third. This should be the sound you get. This is the note G, concert B flat in our band class. There it is. From there on out, you can use your beginner band method to learn the rest of the notes. I hope this has been helpful in you getting your first sounds. And remember, when you're creating your embouchure, lower lip over your teeth, top teeth down, and the third and most important step, ooh. That is the one that people tend to ignore the most or don't do a good job of bringing their corners forward. And that can cause some air leakage. It can cause some funny sounds. It can cause some squeaks. And that's where it takes muscle development to get good at that. So you might actually get a little sore in your face muscles if you play for a long time. And that's because you're developing that correctly. There you go. Those are your beginning steps. Please let me know if you have any additional questions. You can email me at my Tennessee Tech email. That's myounglove@tennesseetech.edu. You'll see it at the bottom of your screen soon. And I hope you can enjoy playing saxophone, or I hope you have as much fun playing the saxophone as I do. Hope it brings as much enjoyment to your life as it has for me. And let me know if you have any questions or if anything I've said is unclear. I'd love to help you out, get better at the saxophone, and I love talking about the saxophone. I'm a big nerd, I'm a big geek, and I enjoy anything related to this wonderful instrument. Thank you very much.